very good evening to all our viewers. This is News First for the people and welcome to tonight's edition of Primetime News coming to you live from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. I'm Arundhati Mudanayaka. Let's start off with a look at the stories making headlines this evening.
Police obstruct protest march organised by Socialist Youth Organisation. Power cuts exceeding 2.5 hours to continue tomorrow as well. Will electricity prices be increased again?
Current current bill වැඩි කරන මේක මොනක් කර්මයක්ද කියලා අපි නම් දන්නේ නැහැ.
ඉතින් තියෙන බිල ගෙවා ගන්න බැරි ඉතින් තාත්තේ දිනවන කොහොමද ඉතින් මේ ජීවත් වෙන්නේ ඉතින් අද කාලේ ඉතින් ආර්ථික පැත්තත් එක්ක.
Many factions protest against possible electricity tariff hike. If Sri Lanka fails to receive IMF package by December, may have to wait till March according to Hindustan Times report. No change to foreign remittances tax policy, says Central Bank. Extraordinary gazette notification issued declaring electricity and hospital services as essential services. Iran protests death toll exceeds 200. Iran reviewing mandatory headscarf law. China eases COVID restrictions following protests.
And now the stories in detail. Police obstructed a protest march organised by the Socialist Youth Movement in Kurunegala on Sunday.
The protest march was held in Kurunegala on Sunday as part of an island-wide protest campaign. The protesters gathered near the Kurunegala clock tower and then marched along the Colombo-Kurunegala main road. The police obstructed the protest march near the Kurunegala police station. The police riot squad was also called in to control the protest. However, despite police obstructions, the protesters continued their march along Rajapilla Road in Kurunegala.
Today we can't even afford to buy a bag, but Ranil Wickramasinghe
2 hours and 20 minutes from Monday as well. How does the public feel about these power cuts and the hike in the prices of electricity bills?
වෙන රස්සාව තමයි අපිට හොයන්න වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. දැන් නුවර අවසට බැලුවන සුද්ධ එකෙක්වත් නැහැ. පාරේ ලයිට් එක කපලා කරුවලයි පාරේ ලයිටුත් නැහැ මොනවත් නැහැ. මාකට් එකේ වාහන වාලා කලින් යනවා කරන්ට් නැති ඉඳා. අපි උදේ පටන් ගත්තම රාත්‍රී 8 වෙනකම් වැඩ කරනවා. ඒ මැදේ කරන්ට් එක විට කපනවා. අපිට මේ ව්‍යාපාර කරගන්න බෑ. අපි කාලෙක මේ ව්‍යාපාරක වාලා ගෙවල් වලට වතුර බිබී මැරලා යන්න වෙයි. වැඩක් බාර ගන්න විදියකුත් නැහැ. පැය 4න් 4ට ඔය කරන්ට් එක කපනවා. ලයිට් බිල වැඩි කියන ඉතින් මේක කරන්න විදියක් නැහැ. අපිට මේ හරි අමාරුවෙන් අපි ජීවත් වෙන්නේ.
It has come to light that plans are afoot to increase electricity tariffs again, despite the 2-hour plus power cuts every day. According to a proposal presented to the cabinet recently, the electricity bill will be revised on the 1st of January and the 1st of July of every year. Minister Kanchana Vijayasekara, while joining the budget debate in Parliament, recently emphasized the need to revise the electricity bills once again.
If we are to supply electricity throughout the day, we will have to spend 56 rupees and 90 cents on one unit. Currently, we charge only 29 rupees and 27 cents per unit. There's a loss of 27 rupees and 10 cents for every unit. Therefore, we need to revise these charges.
උන්ගෙන් ගත්තාම ඉවරනේ මේ අපි අපිට මේ ලයිට් බිල් වතුර බිල් ගෙවන්න තියා අපිට මේ පාන් රාත්තලක් ගන්න අපි සල්ලි නැතුව මෙතන මේ ජීවත් වෙන්නේ. තව මේ උන්ට සැප ගන්න අපිව තල්ලනවාද කොහෙද?
ලබන මාසෙත් වැඩි වෙනවා කියනවා. ඊයේ මාසෙත් වැඩි වුණා. දරා ගන්න අමාරු.
කස්සාවත් හරියට නැහැ. ඉතින් තීන බිලාවත් ගෙවා ගන්න බැරි තියෙන තත්ත්වයේ තියෙනකොට කොහොමද ඉතින් මේ ජීවත් වෙන්නේ?
වැඩි වෙලා තියෙදි තවත් වැඩි කරන්න යනවා කරන්ට් බිල. ඒකත් එක්ක කරන්ට් එක දීලා කරන්ට් බිල වැඩි කරොත් කමක් නැහැ. කරන්ට් එකත් කපනවා. කරන්ට් බිලත් වැඩි කරනවා. මේක මොන කර්මයක්ද කියලා අපි නම් දන්නේ නැහැ.
It is not just the people. Even the Public Utilities Commission says that the Ceylon Electricity Board is not experiencing any loss.
I only respect the law and not the minister. The tariff we increased on the 10th of August had generated 1 billion rupees turnover. Who says that the Ceylon Electricity Board is experiencing a loss? They don't incur any loss.
What does the union have to say?
The chairman of the Public Utilities Commission says that the Ceylon Electricity Board is now earning a profit owing to the recent electricity price hike. Despite this, many Korean companies have come to Sri Lanka and are trying to take over the Lakshapana power plant. These rulers are ruining the concepts of Vimala Surendra. On the other hand, talks are underway to sell off power plants, including the Victoria power plant, to Indian companies like Adani. Just like India got hold of the Nerocholi power plant and the Hambantota port, they have imposed conditions on the government to sell these to them without even considering the other potential buyers. The agreement on the Nerocholi power plant has already been drafted. There are 800 employees who are currently working at this plant. They are going to cut down this number to 500. Then there are plans to give away other power plants as well. They are also trying to give away the high voltage lines to 2 other companies. There are plans to sell all 4 supply lines to an Indian company, but we will not let the government sell these.
Despite all these issues, the people of the country have only one demand: protect these national assets and supply power at concessionary rates. Several factions pointed out the consequences the people will have to face if electricity tariffs be raised again.
If they increase electricity bills by 75% or a unit of electricity by 75 rupees once again, we won't be able to continue these industries. If they can expedite the use of solar panels in hotels and factories, we will be able to continue our livelihoods without any hindrance. A packet of fried rice or a kottu, which was increased to 700 rupees recently, is still the same. If they hike electricity prices, all these prices will also increase again. Today, many people consume just one meal per day. Some people walk into restaurants and drink the free water while staring at the food. In future, I believe that even the glass of water will not be given free of charge.
The All Ceylon Communication Owners Association warns if electricity tariffs are increased, they will be forced to increase their prices as well.
If the electricity bills are increased by 75%, we will also have to increase the prices by 5 rupees on all our services, including for printouts. We will be forced to increase our prices if our suppliers raise their prices.
Trade unions and organizations to protect consumer rights allege instead of converting the CEB into a profit-making entity and crushing the corruption within, the government is trying to place the burden of the loss borne by the CEB on the public. The prevailing economic crisis in Sri Lanka is a result of improper management of national resources as well as arrogant decisions taken by rulers for the benefit of their own. In the end, the people are suffering due to this crisis, which was created by those in power. The small and medium-scale enterprises face the brunt of the blow from the crisis. Many SMEs are bankrupt today. The downfall of businesses has created a detrimental ripple effect on the banking sector of the country as well. This rice mill in Gallenbindrueva is one of many such businesses which succumbed to the economic crisis. The Entrepreneurs Struggle movement, during a press conference held on Sunday, shed light on the foreclosure of a property owned by a rice mill owner.
Businesses have collapsed due to economic mismanagement in the country. The factory of a businessman in Gallenbindrueva, Anuradhapura, was auctioned today as he couldn't settle the bank loan, and he was removed from the premises and asked to hand over the factory equipments. It was informed that the property will be seized. By today, around 20 businesses are gazetted to be auctioned weekly. The state fiscal policy or the budget has not provided any concessions to entrepreneurs. As a result, these businesses are severely burdened.
The present crisis in Sri Lanka has also resulted in a dollar shortage. Foreign remittances made by our expatriate workers have now become a vital source of dollars to the country. Today, the Central Bank of Sri Lanka took to Twitter to refute claims that remittances sent by expatriates are being forcibly converted to Sri Lankan rupees. The tweet says speculations that expatriate Sri Lankans' remittances to Sri Lanka are taxed and forcibly converted into Sri Lankan rupees is completely unfounded. It highlighted that there are no taxes on remittances and expatriate Sri Lankans are free to hold such remittances in foreign currency form in their bank accounts or convert such remittances into Sri Lankan rupees at their discretion. The CBSL added that expatriate Sri Lankans continue to enjoy the current incentives without any change whatsoever.
Many questions remain as to when Sri Lanka will be able to secure the much needed IMF bailout package. According to some experts, the chances of getting the extended fund facility of USD 2.9 billion approved from IMF Executive Board this month ranged from very low to non-existent. Will Sri Lanka have to wait for the March meeting of the IMF before any aid is extended by the IMF? According to an article in the Hindustan Times, Sri Lanka's dire inability to make repayments on its enormous national debt has led the Paris Club of Creditors Nations to suggest a 10-year moratorium for the country and another 15 years of debt restructuring in order to save the nation from further economic and financial collapse.
The Hindustan Times reports, while the Paris Club is still to formally reach out to India and China, Colombo on its part is still to initiate a formal dialogue with the Xi Jinping regime. According to the experts, the chances of getting the extended fund facility of $2.9 billion approved from the IMF Executive Board this month range from very low to non-existent. This means that Sri Lanka will have to wait for the March meeting of the IMF before any aid is extended by the IMF. Years and years of corruption, misuse of national and natural resources and incompetent leadership has resulted in Sri Lanka's economy being internationally acknowledged as being in its worst shape since independence. Today, the poor are poorer. The middle income earners, who through their hard work and commitment build lives for themselves, can't even make ends meet. And entrepreneurs are faced with insurmountable odds. It is the same group of people who got us here. And today, does anyone expect a different result from the exact same group of people? Corruption, corruption, corruption. Stealing from the poor to enrich themselves. Lying about anything and everything. Playing politics over people's lives and the future of young people. Pulling this beautiful nation down to its knees. Forcing us to go before the world with a begging bowl. This is the truth that hurts politicians. But at Newsfirst, our obligation is to the people and not the politician. As the people of Sri Lanka struggle to earn a living, to pay for basic needs, to educate children and to take care of elderly parents, let's never forget what brought us here. Let's never forget why we are here. Let's never forget that the power of the people is always greater than the people in power.
The National People's Power says there is no future for Sri Lanka if it does not overcome the crisis.
දීර්ඝ කාලයක් අපේ රට පාලනය කරපු පාලක කණ්ඩායම් විසින් අද අපේ රටේ ජනතාවත් අපේ මාතෘ භූමියත් මුහුණ දෙමින් තිබෙනවා.
Today, the citizenry and the motherland are facing consequences of the economic policies and political culture created by the group which ruled our country for a long time. How did these leaders rule our country in the past? They never had a long-term plan. They borrowed money and paid it back. That's it. By 2020, there was no one left to lend us money. There wasn't anything of value left to sell as well. The government had only $7.3 billion. They wasted everything. Come to 2022, the country is bankrupt. Our creditors are now knocking at our doors. Telecom made a profit of $1.2 billion last year. There is no way to pay off loans. The insurance corporation is also making profits, and the government is selling off anything that is making profit. When it was raised in the parliament, Susil Premajayantha questioned who would buy companies that are running at a loss. We have to give away the ones that are making profit, which is also true. Remember, the next thing will be our power plants. They will sell those as well. If we don't tackle this corrupt economy, there won't be any future for this country.
Andhra Kumar Dissanayake was speaking at the Hakmana National People's Power Party meeting.
The protest against suppression and demanding new political reforms held opposite theatre every weekend was held on Sunday evening as well. It was organised by the Theatre Api movement.
මැතිවරණයක් තියෙන්න ඕනි. ඒ වගේම අපේ වසන්ත මුදලිගේ සහෝදරයා සිරිදම් සාදු දෙන්නම අනිවාර්යෙන් නිදහස් කරන්න ඕනි. මොකද ජනතාවට මේ දෙන්න ඉදිරියට ඇවිල්ලා පාරට බැස්සේ.
Well, time for a short commercial break. Stay with News First. We will be right back.
News First, main sponsor.
25% for 2 months, 25.5% for 4 months. Valuable FD, a trusted place for your fixed deposit. Valuable FD, 25% for 2 months, 25.5% for 4 months. Valuable FD, the symbol of stability.
Welcome back. Here with News First. A special Gazette notification has been issued declaring several other services as essential services. Accordingly, all services pertaining to the supply of electrical power, supply of or distribution of petroleum products and fuel, all services pertaining to the maintenance, reception, care, feeding and treatment of patients in hospitals, nursing homes, dispensaries and other similar institutions have been declared as essential services. Also in local news, leader of the opposition Sajid Premadasa states that under the Samagi Jana Balabegya government, the law will be enforced against those who have stolen the nation's wealth.
The meeting of the Kaduwela constituency of the Samagi Jana Balabegya was held on Saturday, headed by opposition leader Sajid Premadasa.
අපි අහලා තිබ්බ එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂයේ නායකයාට රාජපක්ෂවරුත් එක්ක ඩීල් තියෙනවා. අපි අහලා තිබ්බා. අපි අත්දැකලා තිබ්බේ නැහැ. හරියටම අපි අත්දැක්කේ.
We have heard stories that the UNP leader made a deal with the Rajapaksa, but this was proved to be true when Ranil Rajapaksa, formerly Wickremesinghe, took over the presidency.
ඇත්තටම හිතින් ලව් කරන්නේ, හිතින් ආදරය කරන්නේ මහින්දර කියන.
We now understand that he truly loves Mahinda with his mind. We have put a new name for him.
දැන් අපි යාට අලුත් නමක් දාලා තියෙනවා. විචිත්‍ර ධර්ම කතික රනිල් රාජපක්ෂ ජනාධිපතිතුමා විසින් එයා ලියලා පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට හිතන කතා.
He comes to parliament and says whatever he likes. He's mixing up Angulimala with Devadatta. He's even rewriting the Jataka Katha. Now look at Mahinda Rajapaksa. Is he trying so hard out of a love for this country? No. All he cares about is handing over the leadership of this country to his son.
නායකත්වය ලබා දෙන්න තමයි මේ මහන්සි වෙන්නේ.
සමගි ජන බලවේග රජයක් තුල හොරුන්ගේ ආයුෂ ඉවරයි. හොරුන්ට තැනක් ලැබෙන්නේ නැහැ. අනිවාර්යෙන්ම අපේ රජයක් තුල හොරා කාපු කට්ටිය මේ රටේ විනාශ කරපු ජාතික ධනය.
The era of thieves will end under a Samagi Jana Balawegya government. We will ensure that all the stolen funds and our destroyed national wealth will be once again be restored to the 22 million citizens of this country. We are different. We have principles. We respect discipline. We don't go behind positions and benefits. We feel for the people of this country. We walked from Kandy to Colombo for 6 days not to protect Gotabaya but to send him home. How can we then shamelessly accept positions under that very same person? I would like to make it clear. We have solutions for the problems of this country.
ඒ පුද්ගලයා ඉදිරියේම දියුරුම් දීලා. ඒ නිසා මම පැහැදිලිව කියන්න කැමතියි. මේ රටේ ප්‍රශ්නවලට අපි සතුව විසඳුම් තිබෙනවා.
Executive member of the National People's Power KD Lanka speaking at a rally in Galgamuwa said all prevailing issues can be resolved by conducting an election.
Ranil Wickremesinghe මේ අයවැය අස්සේ කිව්වා.
During the budget debate, Ranil Wickremesinghe said Parliament will not be dissolved. But our fight, which is the national struggle, is to dissolve this Parliament. These people must be sent home. However, Ranil Wickremesinghe is saying Parliament will not be dissolved. So what should we do? We must submit a proposal in Parliament and a majority should raise their hands. The media questions as to why we are not submitting a proposal. Anyone in the House knows if we bring a proposal now, it will be defeated. We cannot bring a proposal that will be defeated. We must bring one that will win. We are ready to bring a proposal that will win. We have a duty and MPs should raise their hands on that day. This system must be changed in such a way that they cannot issue nominations for those they like for the parliamentary election. Unless you support this, it cannot be done. So raise your hand. We must make it a demand of the majority.
The Freedom People's Congress Badula District Working Committee meeting was held on Sunday with the participation of Professor G.L. Piris, Dala Salha Perma and others.
This president was born for political anarchy and economic depression. Hitler came to power with the help of the Nazis in Germany. Here, the president came to power with the help of the prodigals in Sri Lanka.
දැන් අද දැන් අයවැය ලේඛනයේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ විවාදයට භාජනය වෙනවා.
The budget is being debated in Parliament. The final vote is this Thursday, December the 8th. The Parliament will gather on the 9th and 10th, which is a very rare event. Generally, after the budget is passed, the next Parliament meeting is scheduled for January the following year. But now they are playing another game. MP Premanath Dolavatta has presented a private member's bill which will further violate your voting rights, and we will not allow them to postpone the local government elections.
ඒකට අපි ඉඩ තියන්නේ නැහැ.
More local and international news come your way on the other side of this short commercial break. Stay with News First. We will be right back.
අයිවන් සතුටින් ඉන්නේ වයරින් කරලා වයරින් කිරුවේ ඉස්ලොන් පොලිකොන් යොදලා.
For your safety and the protection of the wires used in networking and AC wiring, Eslon Polycon cable trunking.
Welcome back here with News First. The District Interact Christmas event was held in Colombo on Sunday with the participation of interactors representing 65 Interact clubs island-wide.
The annual District Interact Christmas celebration was held at the Trace Expert City Auditorium in Colombo.
So District Christmas is about a event that is held by the Intra Club of District 322. It's been joined with the Intra Clubs of Trinity College Kandy, St. Richard's Convent and St. Joseph's College Colombo and the Bishop's College. This event is a joyful event where the interactors from all zones such as Kurunagala, Kandy, Colombo, Negombo, etc. joins at Trace City today.
Well, this event it has given us the opportunity to organize an event where interactors from all over the country are able to get together and connect and build solidarity among us all.
Prior to the commencement of the Christmas celebrations, the 5th district meeting took place. Bhathiya Jayakodi and Dutika Pereira delivered the keynote speeches.
We as interactors, we love to do social work. We love to go to orphanages. We love to help with conserving the environment. We love to do so many things. But there's this famous saying which says charity begins at home. Sometimes it's so hard to love those in our homes.
The next generation and the next generation is version 2 or version 3 or version 4 of you. We are like an app. It always improves the bugs and it starts going forward. And that's a part of evolution.
The event included entertainment items and games to enhance the bond and friendship of interactors from across Sri Lanka.
Austin police in Texas has shot a man named Rajan Munasinghe on the 15th of November as he held a rifle on his own porch. His family says that he held this rifle because he thought that his home was burglarized. They also allege that the police did not provide enough warning to the deceased to drop the rifle.
Rajan Munasinghe's family say the tech entrepreneur in Texas wasn't given ample time to drop a rifle he was carrying on his own front porch before he was fatally shot by police in November. 33-year-old Munasinghe had returned from a trip and suspected that his home had been burglarized during the early morning hours of the 15th of November. Relatives said that is when he held a rifle outside his front door and was encountered by an Austin police officer who quickly shot him while almost simultaneously ordering Munasinghe to drop the gun. Video and audio released on Thursday show Austin police officers arriving and yelling, "Drop your gun!" then firing at Rajan Munasinghe, who was holding a rifle weapon. Officers were responding to a 911 call requesting police and mental health support because a man was holding a long gun outside in the residential neighborhood.
Draw the gun!
The caller, who was not identified in the recording, said the man had approached him earlier in the day to ask if he had noticed anything suspicious in the area. When officers arrived, security camera footage released by police shows Munasinghe had just fired 2 shots into his home. Moments earlier, the security camera footage showed Munasinghe speaking in the direction of his house while pointing the gun inside, but it is not clear why. Police identified the officer who fired at Munasinghe as Daniel Sanchez, who is now on administrative leave. Police said the officer had been with the department for 2 years and 9 months, and they said 2 investigations into the shooting are ongoing.
A Sri Lankan man living in Australia has been charged with murder after a mother of 3 was stabbed to death in her home in Melbourne's southeast.
The 44-year-old woman's daughter rushed to her neighbors for help, but her mother could not be saved. In CCTV footage, the daughter can be heard knocking on her neighbor's door and pleading for assistance. Australian media say the 45-year-old man charged was the husband of the mother of 3. He is alleged to have also attacked their teenage son, who managed to escape with a non-life-threatening head injury and was taken to hospital for treatment. The horrifying ordeal unfolded in her home just before midnight.
Moving on to news overseas, a security body in Iran has provided its first official assessment of continuing unrest across the country, saying more than 200 people have been killed since September.
In a statement published on Saturday, the State Security Council of the Iranian Interior Ministry provided its first death toll that it said has come as a result of riots. Iranian authorities said they would review a decades-old law that requires women to cover their heads as the country struggles to quell more than 2 months of protests linked to the dress code. Iran's Attorney General Mohammad Jafar Montazeri says, quote, both Parliament and the judiciary are working on the issue of whether the law needs any change, unquote. Quoted by an Iranian news agency, he did not specify what could be modified in the law by the two bodies, which are both largely in the hands of conservatives, but added that the review team met with Parliament's Cultural Commission and will see the results in a week or 2.
More Chinese cities, including Urumqi in the far west, announced easing of coronavirus curbs on Sunday as China tries to make its zero-COVID policy more targeted and less inconvenient after unprecedented protests against restrictions last weekend.
Urumqi, the capital of Xinjiang region and where the protests first erupted, will reopen malls, markets, restaurants and other venues on Sunday, ending strict lockdowns after months. There was no sign of any significant unrest this weekend, although police were out in force in areas of Beijing and Shanghai. Both sites saw protests a week ago. A deadly fire last month in Urumqi sparked dozens of protests against COVID-19 curbs in over 20 cities after some social media users said victims had been unable to escape the blaze because their apartment buildings were locked down. Authorities denied that. The protests were an unprecedented show of civil disobedience in mainland China since President Xi Jinping took power in 2012. In the days since, numerous cities have announced the easing of lockdowns, testing requirements and quarantine rules. China is set to further announce a nationwide easing of test requirements as well as allowing positive cases and close contacts to isolate at home under certain conditions.
South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa says that he will not resign despite the allegations raised against him on a scandal over money stolen from his farm.
Ramaphosa's position came into question after an independent parliamentary panel said in a report that he might have violated the oath of office with regards to millions of dollars in cash found at his private game farm. The row centers on claims he kept large sums of cash on his property, then covered up its theft. However, Ramaphosa's spokesperson suggested that he would fight on and rather than quit would seek a second term as leader of his African National Congress party. The scandal erupted in June when a former South African spy boss, Arthur Fraser, filed a complaint with police accusing the president of hiding a theft of $4 million in cash from his Fala Fala game farm in 2020. Ramaphosa admitted that money had been stolen but said it was $580,000 and not $4 million. The president said the $580,000 had come from the sale of buffalo, but the panel headed by a former Chief Justice said it had substantial doubt about whether a sale took place. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa visited Sri Lanka on the 16th of November for a short stay after attending the G20 summit in Indonesia. During his visit, he met his Sri Lankan counterpart, President Ranil Wickremesinghe, at the Katunayake Air Force Base for discussion discussions on bilateral issues. Sri Lanka also hosted a birthday celebration for the South African president during this visit.
This is a difficult time for everyone. As such, Gamadda took an initiative to encourage some people living in poverty amidst the current economic challenges.
With Christmas Day drawing nearer, Gamadda distributed dry rations to citizens suffering under the sheer weight of the financial burdens across the island. Dry rations were also distributed today to people in Kathargama and surrounding areas.
News First with the people.
And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Primetime News. Thank you very much for joining us. This is News First for the people. Good night.